everyone, and welcome back to Agbari Multimedia Channel. Welcome to another edition of the Amazons and Afripreneur interview series from the stable of Agbari Multimedia Company, where we showcase and celebrate Amazons and Afripreneurs in Africa continent. Remember, our mission is to inspire you into greatness as we celebrate the winning Amazons and Afripreneur in Africa. I want to say welcome to you if you're watching us for the first time. And I want to say don't forget to leave this channel without clicking that like button, that subscribe button, and put your question below because we are going to answer every question you have for us today. And if you're watching this on replay, I want to say thank you for joining us. Don't forget also to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Today, I have with me my co-host, Naomi Akinsanya. Naomi, I want you to say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Agbari Amazon and Afripreneur
Thank you
series.
so much. All right. So today I have with me a great scientist, a researcher, an advocate. And I will ask Naomi to please read the bio of my guest, Dr. Paemka.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Dr. Paemka is a lecturer at the Department of Biochemistry in the University of Ghana. She's a breast cancer researcher and the lead of NUFU Festival, an annual breast festival aimed at raising awareness of breast cancer and also aimed to alleviate the imbalanced high mortality rate associated with the disease. They spotlight more on the prevention and the treatment of the disease. Paemka's campaign has been able to provide researchers a platform to disseminate important facts about the underlying genetic causes of breast cancer and also address the sociocultural myths surrounding the disease and create a safe space for survivors and victims to speak up about the disease in the community. The campaign also seeks to encourage more women and men to check their breasts regularly and also ask experts for advice. She holds a degree, a PhD degree from the University of Iowa, and she's also the co-coordinator of the West African Center for Cell Biology in Infectious Pathogens. She's also on the team of Yamache, a new biotechnology startup in Africa. She's been able to create more opportunities for scientists and researchers through the platform to consequently train scientists in her field. The impact of our movement has been able to create a great atmosphere for breast cancer awareness in Ghana, Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you, Dr. Paemka. We are so glad to have you on Agbari Multimedia Channel. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. You want to greet the people?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. And thanks for inviting me to speak on this platform. It's an honor, actually. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Let me start this way. She has said so many things about you. What is it that she has not mentioned that the people don't know about you and you want them to know about you?
Oh, okay. So I have 5 sisters, which I think people are always fascinated about. I have 5 sisters. I spent the first 5 years of my life in Nigeria. And yes, and I have a master's in entomology, which is insect science. It's so far removed from what I'm doing right now. But I explored that aspect when I got interested in molecular genetics. So yeah, I do have a master's in entomology, so I know a lot about insects. And then I've been back in Ghana for close to 4 years now. Since leaving the University of Iowa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let me ask you, what brought you into this field?
Okay.
From the insect into human? What brought you
Okay.
into the field?
So for entomology, I'll say it was kind of a detour. Originally, when I finished high school, so during high school, everyone thought, and I thought I was going to go to med school because at that point, because of the limited guidance you get, in our parts of the world, once you're in science, you're doing well in biology, it's almost automatic that I go to med school. And my dad also happened to be a medical doctor. So during that time, I was kind of hesitant, but I felt that was the only option. Then when I applied for med school to two universities, one is at the University of Science and Technology. It's you go in as a first year med student, and so I got into med school, and then that's when I realized I really didn't want to do it. So I told my mom I was coming to the University of Ghana. At the University of Ghana, I have to do a couple of years of the biological sciences, and the third year you apply for med school. So that's what I thought I was going to do because I knew I was dragging my feet. So I got to Legon, and then third year I decided not to go. Now, I still knew I had a passion for science, but then it wasn't medicine. So in level 400, there was a class in advanced genetics, and everybody was avoiding it because people don't really like genetics. So I just took it out of, just prove a point. And then I sat in class, and then there was this day my lecturer covered the Human Genome Project. That was in 2003. And I don't need to sound dramatic or anything like that, but it was everything just crystallized at that moment for me, and that's when I knew I wanted to work on genes. So then after my undergraduate, I was doing my service as a TA, and then my head of department called me one time, and there was a scholarship. It was in entomology, and so I told him I was interested because I was going into human genetics. And then, so this was a scholarship from the Western Kentucky University in the States. So then he came back and said the PI wanted to meet with me again. So we met, and then I told him I was interested in genetics. Sorry, I was interested in insects. My plan was to go into genetics. And he told me, you know what, at the end of the day, when it comes to genetics, I mean, genetics applies to every organism, and so I had the option to modify the project if I wanted to do some molecular genetics. I was like, okay, that's fine. It's a master's anyway, and I still could go ahead and pursue my human genetics degree. So I did it. It's really exciting. I mean, with insect are the most diverse species on Earth. And I learned so much. And that's when I started with molecular genetics because I'm looking at speciation and whatnot. And so after that, and then I applied and went to Iowa to pursue my degree in genetics and focus on human genetic diseases. So it's a bit of a detour, but yeah, that's what I wanted to
You've done a lot in this field.
do.
Who inspired you? You sound self-motivated, but who inspired you? Is it because your dad is a medical doctor?
No, actually, not necessarily, because he's a medical doctor. If he inspired me, I would have been a doctor, but that's what I wanted. But I would say partly is because of my curiosity. I'm a really inquisitive person. My earliest memory of science was when I was around 5, just around the time we moved back from Nigeria, and I saw there was this dust whirl on the ground, and then I was asking my mom what it was, and she said it's you learn about it one day in science, and that's the first memory I have, about science. But then I've just been just very curious, and I would say the Human Genome Project inspired me. It was Prof. Edo, and I think it was the Human Genome Project that basically inspired me. But then so far, all these stalwarts in science have, can I think of any of them right now? So many of them in genetics, I mean, especially women who have made significant inroads in science have inspired me, not necessarily in genetics, but in science generally. And the recognition in the kind of research women are doing, it's inspiring to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Paemka. Thank you. So I have this question. Everybody has a story behind their advocacy. What brought you into, breast cancer advocacy?
Okay.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I can. So I guess it stems from my research. So this happened, I'll say 5 years ago, just when I was still in Iowa then, and I'd I'd actually planned on staying in the US a little longer before moving to Ghana. But then, and the reason I even wanted to stay a little longer was the fact that there's very little research in genetics being conducted on the continent. And I felt coming back, I'll be limited in the kinds of research I was accustomed to at the University of Iowa. But then it was almost an overnight decision for me. It just hit me that I could be part of those, establishing genetics, establishing and the continent as a player in the genetics field. So when I decided to move, there's a WAGB had this grant, and WAGB is West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens. By that point, we are looking to expand the scope of their research from just infectious pathogens to include non-communicable diseases as well. And as a geneticist, I was thinking of what to focus on because this there's very little research into human genetic diseases in the country. So, in looking at the kinds of diseases that I thought had a huge impact, in on women, I decided to focus on breast cancer. So, when I was writing up my proposal, I noticed that the death rate, mortality rate is significantly higher in people of African descent. Especially in Ghana, I have up to 50% of women who've been diagnosed with with breast cancer dying. And I thought that was really unacceptable. Because it is proportionately much higher than what you see in the Western world. That's like 17%, a little lower. So then I was reading up on, what the causes could be. And one of the major issues was the late presentation. It turns out that most women, even up to 85% of women, present as stages 3 and 4. At that point, the breast cancer has metastasized. It's spread around, the body, and it's difficult to treat it at that point. Your survival drops significantly. So the whole point I figured was um, it will be prudent to educate these women because the cornerstone to treating breast cancer is early detection, and that's what's lacking in our part of the world. So, and if you are not aware and you're not educated on the issue, then you don't even know how to check whether to go to the hospital, do your self check to even detect it much earlier. Because once it's detected very early, 0 and 1 stage, treatment success are close to 100%, or over 99%. So I figured instead of sitting in this microcosm and just focusing on detecting the genetic underpinnings of the disease, I felt like I had to do something in addition to actually see an impact. So we don't wait for these women to show up when they are dying or close to dying, but then we make these women aware so we can decrease, the mortality in our population by, early detection. So that's how come I go into breast cancer advocacy. I didn't think just doing the research would be sufficient to have, almost not an almost an immediate impact. Ultimately, when we find out all these genetic biomarkers and whatnot, it will go a long way to help with detection and treatment and whatnot. But what can we do now? Educating the women, letting them know about breast cancer, and detecting it earlier will have far-reaching consequences than the research ultimately.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Paemka. So, does that have a connection with NOFO Festival?
Absolutely.
Okay,
So,
tell us about that.
no festival is something I started when I decided to go into breast cancer advocacy. So the story behind this is, so Nufu means breasts in the local parlance in Chi. So when I decided I started planning this out. I spoke to one of my friends. He used to be a science student undergrad, at SS level, and then he moved, he went elsewhere. But then because he has a science background, I thought it was a good person to speak to design, the logo. So he came up with for Fofo means breast in one of the tribes in Ghana. But and then his idea was to use the or. So the four is like a backward facing C. So then those were going to be breasts. And then he thought about Lolo. Lolo is more I think it's people in West Africa generally recognize Lolo, right? So all the O's are going to be breast. But then I looked at it, I'm like, okay, these breasts don't look too natural, right? Let's have breasts that are more pendulous, they are more natural looking. And more about Nufu is spoken by at least Nufu, I mean Chi. Nufu is in is the Chi word, right? And it's spoken by more than 50% of Ghanaians. So I think it will be more recognizable. So let's use Nufu and they will have a more, natural looking set of breasts in the logo. And then he came out with an artwork and I thought that was perfect. So basically every year we have programs where we try to reach people from different demographics. So people at the markets, people at the university, on university campus, and we educate them, we get these mannequins, we show them, demonstrate how to, conduct self-breast exams. We give out free breast exams. We give them freebies. We make it out, it's a whole festival. We have quizzes that incorporate questions on, breast and then breast health and things of that nature. And then also I get to go on TV. Sometimes I get my students to go on TV and radio to educate people. And it's not just about women. We also focus on men as well because it's shocking because that men don't think they get breast cancer. But then, I mean, 1% of breast cancer cases are in men. And it tends to be higher in men of African descent. So we even need to be more vigilant when it comes to detecting the disease earlier.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's quickly go on a short break and we'll be right back. All right, you are still watching Amazon's and Afripreneur interview on Agbari Multimedia channel. And I'm still speaking with Dr. Lily Paemka, the founder of Nufu Festival, a breast cancer awareness campaign in Ghana. You were recently appointed as the human genetic scientist at Yemachi Biotechnology. How's it been for you?
Okay. Well,
In the midst of men, in the world of men, when a woman is being appointed, I don't know. There's this kind of questions around our strength and competency. How is it for you?
Well, it's been exciting. It's been exciting. So Wemachi is a year old. Is about a year old now, and it was funded by one of my colleagues at the University of Ghana. And Yamachi basically should be Africa's first cancer company. We're interested in significantly improving diagnosis, treatment, etc. On of cancer in Africans because there's been very little research in our part of the world and so on and so forth. So I've always been interested in biotech. So, for instance, when I finished my PhD, the only application I sent out for a postdoc position was to AstraZeneca, because we're coming out with this new system where the postdoc position will kind of straddle both academia and the industry, and that I thought was really exciting. So, Yamati basically encompasses that where we're doing research, and then it's research and biotech as well. Um, so, I actually look at the gender ratio at Yamachi, which is filled with, all these scientists from different backgrounds. It's actually a good ratio, male-female ratio. And I think it's been exciting because also we are able to have the resources to now mine the human genome, African genomes, to identify all these biomarkers that are going to be could be druggable, actionable, and then significantly improve cancer diagnosis on the continent, and hopefully reduce the economic burden that it places on this part of the on the continent.
You've done so much in this field. Was there a time you ever feel like giving up on any of your research?
Um, Not really. In science, you have to develop a thick skin. You know, it's certain things that you have to keep doing over and over again until you actually get results. So once you know what the system is like, I think you develop this thick skin, and then it's easy to give all these things. So things that someone might think are insurmountable, I think as a scientist, knowing how the system works, I think you should be fine. Um, it's been relatively more difficult doing research in Ghana because there are certain things that are not set in place. So it's a bit difficult, some of the bureaucracy and things of that nature. But I would say it's moving on, and I think it's going to get better once there's more research being conducted here, all the right measures to be put in place, and I think it will be a little bit easier. But science in general is not easy. So, for example, the dolly, the first mammal that was cloned, the sheep, they tried 277 times before they were successful. So with science, it just comes with the territory. Nothing is smooth sailing. So, and because we need to cross check, before we, come out and say, oh, well, this is what we found. And people typically respect, our findings. So we need to do our due diligence. So it's not a problem working hard in science.
Thank you so much. So, what will you say, or what will you describe, or how will you describe your definition of success?
Well, for success, I think it's finding your niche. It's finding your niche. You find a place where you fit in, you really enjoy, and this is not a place where you have to jostle with anybody to fit in. I feel it's finding your niche, finding something that excites you, something you really enjoy, something that when you wake up in the morning, you're excited to get out and go, and pursue things that in the middle of the night, sometimes you wake up because you're excited to just, follow up on. I think that's success in general. I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about it has to do with, enjoying what you're doing. And then in that position, actually making an impact. And then to the point where you get that recognition, you're able to contribute to that area. I think that's generally what success is all about.
For you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, you mentioned influencing people, because we understand that you can't do this advocacy work alone. Um, do you have like a mentoring group? Do you have people that work with you? Do you have people that you share this vision with, young women that work with you, or those who really want to work with you now? Do you have a platform for that?
Sorry, the line,
I
there's a bit of a
understand.
disconnect.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
do you want me to
Okay.
repeat the question? It's actually the
Yeah,
network, and we
yeah,
understand. So we
okay,
apologize.
that's fine. So could you please repeat the question just briefly?
Yes. So I was saying that this, when it comes to the drive, the vision about, impacting people and the work you're doing with breast cancer advocacy, do you have people you mentor? Do you have young girls you mentor, people that buy into this idea? And do you have a platform for people who wants to join you in this race?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, my lab is intimately involved in this project every year. So I have a number of PhD, master students, undergraduates, and we get a bunch of volunteers from the department, first of all, who help me with the project annually. We have the Biochemistry Students Association that is housed in the in the biochem department also help out. Sometimes we get partners from outside campus who help out. And WACBIP is West African Center for Cell Biology with Infectious Pathogens, always assists and then supports with funds and whatnot. So we're able to get, and there's another group called the Faith, Hope and Love Group. It's an NGO. They usually help as source for nurses who are able to give out these breast nurses who are able to conduct the breast exams for the participants at the festival. And so, yeah, anyone is welcome to join us. We have a Nufu Festival handle that on Twitter that they can easily join. And every year, volunteers are always welcome to join. And if people want to donate something, they're always welcome to join us as well.
All right. Thank you so much. So let me ask, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a researcher, if you're not a scientist, I will let you have the advocacy part of you. If you're not any of those, what would you have been?
I think really an interesting question. I think I probably have been a writer or and then a designer, fashion designer. I think I like those, but I don't know if I'd have done that. But yeah, I think fashion designing, and then writing would have been two of my options. I think
All right.
it's hard to just it's hard not to think science, but yeah, I think that those two could have been options. Maybe law. I,
I think I'll pick fashion designing for you.
okay. Yeah, I love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring us. We really appreciate you. Before I ask you to tell people how they can connect, you can give us your link. I love to ask these two questions for the younger person watching right now, because we want to believe that there's a young lady out there who is looking up to you and is watching or is going to watch this video after this time. What will you tell them? What does it take to reach where you are now and beyond?
Okay, so I think it's about first of all following your heart. People find themselves in different jobs where they're just stressed and don't necessarily like what they're doing. So I think first of all, follow your heart. If science is what you want to do, I think you should just follow it. And it's about perseverance. Like I already said, with science, it's not so easy as 1+2 and 1+1 is 2. It's not that easy. So I think you need to persevere, and I think you need to work hard. I know it's everyone says that work hard, but I think ultimately it's what you're interested in, and you should have a healthy dose of curiosity, a healthy dose of curiosity. Because if you're not curious, what would you be doing in the sciences? Because it's about questioning things. You should question things. Don't take things as they are. I know maybe several centuries ago, a caveman will maybe eat a tomato, throw the seeds away, and then you have a plant sprouting. And I know at that point, maybe they didn't have the capacity or capability to understand what was happening. So they were worshiping maybe the earth, the sun, because that's what they could. That's what it's all about. That's what they could, understand. But at this point, there's so many tools, and you should be more curious. You should be more curious. You need to delve into things. It's not about attributing things to like a superior being, attributing things to anything without any concrete evidence. I feel it's about curiosity. You should be able to push through, persevere, learn hard. I mean, read, and then basically just follow your heart. That's what I can say in that subject.
Thank you so much. Let me just ask one more follow-up question on that. With the advent of technology and increase in social life, especially for the Generation Z, what will you tell a young lady who is stepping on campus for the first time, maybe at age 18? They want to enjoy life and they also want to be a scientist. How should they balance?
I think to So yeah, this is something that struck me because I went to the University of Ghana and I'm back here after over 20 years. And it's so different because you see a bunch of students walking and everybody's on their phone. I think that's a problem. I know we should find a balance between it. We should find time to put the phone down and actually interact with people, one on one. I think that's an issue. People are getting lost in the social media milieu and not necessarily dealing directly with people on a physical level. So I think that's something they should learn to do. Learn to spend more time with people and less time on social media. And you should have fun, absolutely, but not always on social media. I think physically, I mean, in the physical realm, you should also try and have fun, and then try to strike a balance between the social life and the school work. I don't think it's healthy for people who get, all immersed in just your education, and then you become an unsociable person. And I think there should be a balance. I think once find a balance in socializing, your academic work, and everything, I think you should be fine. I mean, university education should be a pleasant experience because it gets harder when you leave. So if you're going to, you know, not enjoy your life at that point, I think you look back with regret.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Is there any question that I did not ask and you love to share with the people? You want
Hmm.
to say something to someone out there that I did not ask you because of
Um,
the time?
Let me see. I can't really think of something right now. Hmm. Okay, maybe Naomi can think of a question for me. Just smiling. Says no. I can't think of something right now.
Okay, you are going to come back to it when you remember. Let me just talk about, you can tell us about where people can find you.
All right. So I'm at the University of Ghana, biochemistry, cell and molecular biology department. I'm also recently joined the West African Center for Genomic Medicine. It's a new ACE institution also at the University of Ghana where we focus on genetics and human genetics. So I recently joined them. And on social media, I guess my full name on Facebook works. Twitter, I don't tweet a lot, but I think I'm going to improve. I'll start spending more time there. It's Lily underscore Paemka, and then on Instagram is at Paemka. Paemka, that's it. That's my last name.
Thank you so much. I just want to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Lily Paemka. On behalf of the management of Agbari Multimedia, we want to say thank you for your time and all those inspiring words that we've received at this hour. And to the Agbari Multimedia family out there, I want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. And we're going to come back to answer every of your question. I want to say, don't forget to follow our guest today. She'll be available to mentor you and join what she's doing. She's doing a great work, especially in the advocacy world. Please join her on this journey. And to the Amazons out there, I want you to get ready because you'll be the next person to be celebrated. Till I come your way again, my name is Tosin Opeoluwa, and my co-host is Naomi Akinsanya. She's been of great help to us today. So be inspired and remain motivated. Thank you so much, everyone. Till we come your way again. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much.